The divorce between DeVon Franklin and Meagan Good on 21st December of this year, that is 2021, after 9 years of marriage, has elicited a lot of mixed reactions. Personally, I was shook. And because of that, I decided to do a video just to focus on the lessons that we can be able to learn from their marriage. Because, first of all, DeVon is a pastor, and secondly, I want you to be equipped in matters marriage. Even though we live in an age where divorce is rampant and many marriages are ending up in divorce, and of course, that means that the divorce rate is very, very high, sky roof high. It doesn't mean that marriages don't work. Marriages can still work. And it also means that divorce need not be your portion. That's why I want to share with you 5 lessons from DeVon Franklin and Meagan Good's marriage, which just ended in divorce the other day. And the reason I'm doing this, of course, is so that you can learn something that you can be able to, implement in your marriage if you're planning to get married, if you are in marriage, so that your marriage can be able to last a lifetime. Hey, Pastor Cliff here, and this is the Bishop and Kingdom Lifestyle. In this segment, we focus on the lifestyle of kingdom men and women. And when we look at these kinds of things, we are just simply saying that you need to be the salt and the light on this earth. And back to DeVon Franklin and Meagan Good. Now, many marriages and couples, of course, are divorcing and splitting like never before. Remember, I've already alluded to the fact that in this day and age, the divorce rate is very, very high. Of course, marriage rate is also high, but divorce is equally high. It need not be the case. And one of the marriages that ended up in divorce just recently, like I've told you, is the DeVon Franklin and Meagan Good's 9-year marriage. Therefore, I strongly feel that you and I can learn 5 serious lessons about building a marriage that will last a lifetime. And this is helpful whether you're planning to marry or whether you are in marriage. So I'm simply saying, before you marry, before you say I do, these 5 things can be able to help you, prepare for that institution. And this institution is a very, very lovely institution, and it can last a lifetime. Now, DeVon is a preacher, though when you look online, when you do a search online, you will discover that most online profiles about him profile him as a film producer. Now, that is interesting, but I don't want to get into that. But what I want you to focus on is that DeVon is a Christian that was raised up in a traditional Christian setup. And therefore, I assume that he is a Christian. Of course, he's a pastor anyway. And having come from that background, he comes in and is working in the film industry. And of course, this is Hollywood. This is a worldly industry. But this in itself is not a bad thing, because it doesn't mean that we can't work in a secular setup, because we have been called as Christians to be salt and light. And this may require you and me to work in such an industry. Joseph did it, Daniel also did it, and they did it very well. So you and I can be able to do it too. Therefore, DeVon is not out of line. He can be a pastor and he can still, produce films, even in Hollywood. But what I want you to appreciate is this one thing, that when you're single, you will normally spot someone and even get spotted in the space where you spend most of your time. And this is what happened with DeVon, that because most of the time he spends around film production, sets and that kind of things, he can, because he was single, then he could only meet another single in that space, or somebody who was, single means you can neither be living a relationship, you're not committed according to that space. I hope you get me. And what happens here is that then 99.9%, let me put it at 99% of marriages actually have their origins in college or the workplace. Why am I saying this? Because personally, I did, meet my wife in college, and we have settled down in marriage 9 years later, just like these guys coincidentally. And then now we have a situation where this person is working in that space. So again, you are most likely to meet your spouse in the workplace. So where you spend a lot of your time, your adult lifetime, you are likely to get spotted, you are likely to spot someone, and I am talking about those people that are single. So don't miss an opportunity when you are in these places. Don't miss an opportunity in college, because once you miss an opportunity in college, the next opportunity comes in the workplace, and if you miss that, then there's going to be trouble. So don't miss an opportunity. If you're single, those workplaces actually do work for your good. So DeVon met Meagan in Hollywood, on a film set, and they became a couple. And later on, of course, as we all know, they married. And this, of course, is a natural progression of relationships. That relationships should actually lead to marriage. Now, Meagan is an actress, because we are talking about Hollywood. And though she says she's a Christian, I have a hard time accepting that fact, or actually reconciling myself to that fact, because the films or the productions that she has dealt in with, you find that there have been sex scenes. And so I have an issue with that, in the sense that this person is married, but they are still doing these productions, and they were doing these productions even before she was married. So there was, when you look at it, there was no change before, or rather after, because we are looking at the life, the marriage life. And so she's that kind of actress, she's that kind of a person. And so I really doubt that she is a Christian. What I think happened for DeVon in this particular case, because I am focusing on the Christian angle to this, and so DeVon is my best bet of looking at matters in this marriage. So what I think happened then is that DeVon met Meagan on set, they hit it off, and along the way, he overlooked obvious red flags. This is because Meagan's history is filled with relationships and productions that are not in line with Christian faith. Remember, I've already said that I really doubt that she is, a Christian for that matter, or a solid Christian, if you may put it that way. When I look at the history of our relationships, I see a very high body count, because we are looking at 12 people in 18 years, and these 12 people are the kinds of, Soulja Boy, Thomas Jones, Nick Cannon, Jamie Foxx, Alex Thomas, Joseph Levitt, 50 Cent, Tyrese Gibson, Hosea Chances, we have Lil Wayne, and these kinds of people. Bryce, Marcus Houston, man, is just crazy. So when you have such kind of a body count, you need to get worried. That's a red flag. Because, why is this person just, getting in, getting out, getting in, getting out? You'll become part of that statistic. So it's very important that you take history very seriously. So history in relationships is a very important thing. Please don't overlook this. You are not the modern day Hosea, who was told to marry a prostitute in the Bible. Now, what is interesting is that Meagan claimed at some point that DeVon would encourage her to make the sex scenes in her productions look real. Now, if this is true, because I don't know how true that is, though it's in the public domain, then this is just plain crazy. Because I'm looking at it and saying, I'm a member at DeVon's church, and he does this. He said this. He's encouraged this. Now, even how does a Christian do that anyway? Let's not go into that. And then he's coming to preach to me on a Sunday. I mean, come on. How crazy can that be? And that simply tells you that marriage is not the place for crazy stuff. Generally, what I would say is that DeVon and Meagan were unequally yoked. Therefore, they couldn't have walked in agreement. And this is what ultimately led to their divorce just recently. Because agreement is about shared values. That is what constitutes agreement, shared values or equal yoking. So for us to be in agreement or equally yoked, it means there are values that we do share. And oneness, on the other hand, means that the two people that are coming to be one die to themselves. Because it is only when they die to each other that they are able to come together and be the one person that God wants them to be. And then that way, then they can become truly one. So I hope you're following me and understanding these issues as they are coming up. So these two people, that is DeVon and Meagan, they never died to themselves. They came into the marriage and maintained who they were before marriage. Now, I don't have an issue with DeVon because DeVon is a pastor, so I believe he's sort of a solid Christian. But I have an issue with Meagan, who is coming into this marriage, and she is not dying to herself so that she can come in and be the wife that she is expected to be to this DeVon, guy. And so they never cleaved, as the Bible expects. And the evidence, one very, glaring evidence is this, that when you look at this 9-year marriage, it did not result in any child. So what we can say is that even the basic command of a marriage, be fruitful and multiply, that was not fulfilled. So it means there must have been a struggle. And this, I am speculating, there must have been a struggle around children. And I know it is related to career. What do you think? Probably you know more than I do. So who didn't want children between these two people? Your guess is as good as mine. So what am I saying in brief? I am saying don't, ignore red flags. When you see red flags, you need to take your time. Many of us are just rushing into relationships. We are rushing into marriages. We are rushing into commitments. And these things do bring a problem. Remember, you cannot change a person. And a relationship is not a mission field. We are not going into a relationship to evangelize. We are going there to do something more than that. And only God can change a person. So many of us get into relationships, marriages, and we are hoping and expecting and thinking that by some weird effort, we are going to change someone. No, that is God's preserve. So in that process, DeVon ended up defending Meagan on a variety of issues on diverse times, because this is a person who is not coming from the Christian circles, and my expectation is that DeVon would have been working within the Christian circles and he would have been able to meet someone there. But because he was in the secular circles, then that is where he meets this lady. And of course, they are unequally yoked, as we have already highlighted. And then what happens is that then he has to defend her on a variety of issues. And that can become tiring. You can imagine time after time after time, you are defending someone that this person is a Christian. Maybe it's about what they have done. Maybe a production has come out. There is a scene that is very tricky, and this is your pastor. Now, it doesn't sit well. And I know that probably DeVon would come into a place and defend that, she has a career. I've given her freedom to do her thing. But then again, I want you to look at it from this point. What was happening to DeVon is that he was firefighting. And firefighting can be very tiring. It can take a toll on you. And when it takes a toll on you, it will reach a point where you will reach your end. And when you reach your end, these are the kinds of things that happen. You find yourself, it's divorce that we are talking about. And again, even when we look deeper into what is happening here, is that there's probably unmet expectations, there's disappointments, and deep down then there'll be a certain resentment, a certain anger. And when this simmers for some time, it will reach a point where there is no return. And reaching that point, I think DeVon reached that point, and the divorce had to happen, or any other way that you want to look at it. And that is how it is. So these unresolved issues and all these other kinds of things, they will get you to an end. So it is important that when you look at your coming together, you look at the differences, you look at the issues, and it is issues that you can be able to deal with. And that is okay, because there are some issues that will go on and on and on, and they will get you to your end, and the inevitable will not be avoidable. Their careers, let's look at their careers. Their careers also meant that they couldn't spend quality time together. Yet quality time is what makes a husband and a wife grow together. So quality time enables you to work on your relationship. It enables you to work on your marriage. And in that way, you can be able to grow together. So when there is no quality time, then you will grow apart. And the possibility of cheating even goes high, because you are always never in the space of each other. And even we who are Christians, we are not, we are still human, and we can find ourselves falling into a situation that, for one reason or another. I remember when I was planning to marry my wife, my in-laws, my parents-in-law, they really did advise us against a long-distance marriage at that particular point in time. And they were very clear to us that if it comes to that point, then one of us has to rescind their ground so that the two of us can be able to move together. And I am glad we took that advice seriously, and it has worked for our favor. And I know the value of just being together in the same space. It just provides that quality time opportunities, and you are able to grow as a couple, and you are able to move. So when it comes to these things to do with career, just pursue paths that are able to provide you with opportunities to be together, so that you can be able to spend quality time together. Finally, number 5, if you must divorce or split, let me use split because divorces are high, splits are high, and these things are just rampant in our time. So if you must divorce or split, and God forbid, then do it amicably. You can follow suit as DeVon and Meagan did. They did a joint statement, and they have remained silent today. And my prayer is that when it comes to that point, then just do a split, do a divorce, and forever remain silent. What we are having nowadays is people, they split up, they divorce, and then they go and start issuing statements from their private spaces, from the point of not being together. And so it becomes accusation after accusation, counter accusation after counter accusation, and it is not productive. And so I see that trend for whatever reason, but whatever reason it is, I do not support it. I believe that if it comes to an end with a person, end it and leave it there and move on with your life. And so with that, I believe that you can pick these 5 lessons, each and every one of them, 2 of them, 3 of them, and you can be able to work on your marriage, work on your relationship, and before you marry or before you say, I do, at least you know what you need to take care of. If there are any red flags, take care of those, and you will be good to go. But what I want to tell you also and remind you, even as I finish, is that marriage does work and marriage can last. But it is work, and you are able to put in the work so that you can realize that. So if you haven't subscribed, Remember to subscribe. We're going to be having more Kingdom installment moments so that you can be blessed and you can be able to, just shine your light as a Christian, bring out your saltiness as a Christian. So like, share, comment, and just do all those things to support us. And of course, be blessed until we see you in the next video. Amen.